Thank you for those very thoughtful questions and good responsive answers. Senator Rosen, you're next.
Well, thank you, Senator Carper. Thank you to everyone here. I appreciate all the work that you've done and being here today. And I'm just going to get right into it because I know we think AI, it's all iterative and it's going to learn on its own and do all of that. But we know it doesn't all build itself. And so we need a federal AI workforce, one that's trained. And the White House Select Committee on AI has worked to enhance the overall effectiveness and productivity of the federal government's efforts, of course, related to AI. Earlier this year, the Select Committee on AI released the strategic plan for AI, which identified significant challenges with the AI workforce. So I have a two-part question for you, Mr. Ghani, and then a follow-up for you, Ms. Raj. Mr. Ghani, to that point, how do we ensure the existing federal AI workforce has the necessary skills to buy, procure, as we're talking about, build and field these AI-enabled technologies? And are there programs that currently exist to upskill our federal workforce? And then so you can think about it, Ms. Raj, your follow-up will be, if you can speak to it, how can academia and industry talent be leveraged to meet these dynamic needs? Because it's not a static industry, for sure.
Thank you for the question. And it's a little bit related to the previous conversation on, do you train everyone on everything, or do you have specialized people? And I think this is a dilemma that even the private sector has been focusing on for the last 20 years in this space. Where do you build one central team that is a tech team, an IT team, an AI team, and then you have them help everybody else? Or do you enable each agency, each department, upskill them? And for me, the answer, what's worked is the latter. It's because, again, AI is not a generic tool it's not Microsoft Office. It's not Windows. It's not a word processor. It's different. And so then what you need to have is you need to have it be configured and used for specific applications, specific programs, specific policy areas. So if you're bringing in tech people in a centralized way, you need to have them be trained in every single thing that every single agency might do. That's not possible. And so I think in my mind, the way to do this is to augment the existing trainings of people within different departments, within agencies, and have them enable them to do their work in an AI-augmented world, rather than AI-first training. And to your question, Senator Rosen, on do these types of programs exist? Not exactly. There are programs that exist in pockets. The majority of programs that exist are in upskilling in several universities and several nonprofits, including Carnegie Mellon and Coleridge Initiative that I've been part of. We've created programs that train government agencies and workers in the use of these types of technologies. But not enough of them exist, and they're not at the scale that we need very quickly. So we need to enhance the training. I think there are two pieces there, and I'll echo some of the things my colleagues have said. One is these trainings are not lecture-based where you just sit in front of a computer and watch a YouTube video.
I'm a former coder. I wrote software for a living. I get it.
And so they need to be kind of experience-centered, grounded in real problems, and have people solve these things, which requires access to data, which requires access to real problems and access to experts who can help. So these programs are expensive. And these programs don't scale because you can't just put them up and have massive, the MOOCs. So I think we need an investment in training government agencies, and not just in using them, but being at the forefront of helping design them, and because, again, the needs are very different for governments than they are for the private sector.
Ms. Raj.
Thank you, Senator, for your question. AI is evolving at a rapid pace that even folks like myself in the field have a hard time keeping up. There have been pockets of incredible initiatives across the U.S. government, namely the MIT Air Force AI Accelerator, which is a multidisciplinary team of embedded officers and enlisted airmen who join MIT faculty, researchers, and students. But what's really interesting about it is that leadership at all levels participate in these workshops that are reflective of the mission need. So I believe it's interdisciplinary teaming through AI workshops and training alongside both industry and academia that make this possible. But again, it's not a one-off workshop, it's a continuously evolving relationship between academia and industry.
Thank you. I want to move on a little bit to AI procurement because we've heard testimony in this committee about, of course, we all know how quickly AI is evolving. This is no secret there, and giving the breakneck pace of the AI evolution, and of course, the multiple iterations, how quickly it's going to learn on its own. I'm concerned that our federal government's acquisition process is just going to not be able to keep up with the rapid pace of the development of the AI tools. And this question's for you, Mr. Roberts, on how should the federal procurement process, how could we improve it, streamline it to be sure that AR products are purchased at the speed of relevance, meaning that they're not rendered obsolete before we even benefit from their use? How should our federal contracts account for the need to retrain a procured AI system? They often require ongoing updates, security patches, and monitoring. I'm a former computer programmer myself. I've been advocating for what we call the SBOM, a software bill of materials. So you know, I guess like you look at the back of a cereal box, you know all the ingredients that are in there. So we should be able to know that for our government software. So if we have to make the appropriate changes, we know the list of ingredients, if you will. So if you want to speak to that.
Yes, Senator. I would start by saying I think the best way to change the processes is to invest aggressively in our talent. And I would say that there should be nothing short of a mandatory AI training for all interns coming into the acquisition workforce. I think this is the only way that incoming professionals coming in will really understand. And the reason why is twofold. I think one is if we really truly believe this is transformative technology, which I think it is, it will affect every mission. Every contracting officer in the future will have to know what this is. Right now they're set up for failure. And the second reason is, to acquire AI, it requires a major reskilling of the way processes are done. So there's a mantra in contracting that says poor planning equals poor contracting. And what that's translated into is that if you don't have all your ducks in a row about exactly how this project is going to pan out, then you should not release your solicitation. Well, obviously that doesn't work with artificial intelligence. And so what we need is a team that works in an iterative fashion. Which is hard right now in the government culture. What we need is a team that focuses on, we have something called modular contracting in FAR Part 39. It's underused, but it is there in the federal acquisition regulation. But we also need performance that's based on value add to the actual end user. And there is a surprising lack of focus in the end user just because there's so many rules and regulation and compliance.
So this is my, I'm the last one here, so I'm going to ask my follow-up question, which you've led me into perfectly. We have some authorities at the federal government to acquire these tools, maybe do this training. What authorities are missing to help move us forward?
Yes, Senator, I would recommend, so in the Department of Defense, we had a lot of the authorities we needed. The Federal Acquisition Regulation did a lot for us, but we also needed other transactions when it required. We needed public-private partnerships, which is a great tool for AI because it incentivizes industry for dual-use application. But that was the Department of Defense, and these authorities aren't given to other civilian agencies who will also be entering this field. So my recommendation would be to also provide that authority to those civilian agencies, especially OT authority and things like partnership intermediary agreements, public-private partnerships. AI is so diverse that these are truly tools that match perfectly depending on the situation. We've used them all.
Thank you, and I see our chairman is back, so I will turn it over to you. Thank you.